Fantasy book, completely different. Romance book, no. And I was like, are you kidding me? Why am I still reading this? We're gonna put her back in my mini fridge. We're not gonna drink anymore. And I know that there's like science in her books. His name is Jack. Get out. You know what? I'm gonna be completely honest. I think it's because it was taking me too long to read. Literally the first chapter of this book, I bawled my eyes out. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for today's video, we are going to be discussing all of my DNFs. So if you don't know what a DNF is, basically it stands for did not finish, which means we're just going to be talking about the books that I just didn't finish. There are two like categories, I guess, for DNFs. One is a soft DNF and one is a hard DNF. Soft DNF means you're gonna come back to the book eventually, just you didn't want to read it right that second. And a hard DNF is a book that you're not gonna pick up ever again. So I have two piles here, one of soft DNFs and one of hard DNFs. So let's just get right into it. Also, I'm cracking open an Alani. I've only ever had one of these in my life, and it was a blue raspberry one on my birthday. They kind of scare me. So we're cracking open a cotton candy one. So let's see. I might break a nail. Oop, I did it. Oh my gosh. Ow. I did it. Okay, let's give her a try. Oh, it's kind of good. Wow, that tastes exactly like cotton candy. That's scary. Okay, fire. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start with my hard DNFs because I have less hard DNFs than I have soft DNFs. Okay, so starting with books that I am never going to pick up again. We're starting with Hunting Adeline. I read Haunting Adeline and it was interesting. I think I gave it 4 stars when I first read it, but I've said this before and I'll say it again. I rated stuff so high like 2 years ago, a year ago, because I thought like that 4 stars was low. Now it's probably like a 2.5. It was really scary. It scarred me. It's interesting. But it ended off on like a cliffhanger and I wanted to read the next book. So I started Hunting Adeline and then my aunt called me and she was like, hey girl, don't read Hunting Adeline. I go, too late. She was like, did you finish it? I was like, no. She was like, okay, well, don't pick it up. I was like, okay. So she basically sent me a whole paragraph of what happens in Hunting Adeline so I didn't have to read it because she said it was really bad and I shouldn't read it. So I said, okay. I didn't actually read what she wrote in that paragraph because I wanted to read it myself, and I was literally so dead set on finishing Hunting Adeline, and I never did, and I probably won't, just because that book was scarring. The next book that I hard DNF'd was The God of the Woods. I was reading this for a video and I got like, I want to say 20% in, and I didn't understand a thing that was going on. There was like at least 6 different POVs that we were going between, and we were also jumping back and forth between like a while ago and then like present timeline. There was like a whole timeline that we needed to know too. It was very confusing, especially because I was listening to it instead of like following along on my Kindle. I literally bought it on my Kindle, which is really sad, but I bought it on my Kindle. I was following along, but I did my laundry one time and I was listening to it and it was like the first like I want to say 30 pages and I didn't understand anything that was going on after that. And I was like, you know what? Why am I still reading this? So I DNF'd it. I'm probably not going to go back to it, but yeah. And then we have The Inheritance Games. I DNF'd this a while ago. This was when I first started reading. I picked up The Inheritance Games. I loved the cover. It was so pretty. I was literally in love with the cover. I picked it up. I was so excited to read it. And then I got really bored. And every single time that I would read a chapter, which was, mind you, like 2 pages maybe, I would go on my phone immediately. I was bored. Now that I'm thinking about it, I would actually probably enjoy that series, but I don't know, it just wasn't working for me, I guess. Okay, so those were all the hard DNFs that I didn't have a physical copy of. Now for the ones that I do have a physical copy of. We're starting out strong with Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I read the first chapter of this and immediately DNF'd it. I think I also read this for a video. I was reading like winter books or something, and I think I wound up only reading 1 book in that video because I DNF'd 2 of them. This being one of them. The first chapter, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I remember talking to my lunch table about this because I remember I DNF'd it on like a Saturday, and then I went back to school on Monday and I was talking to my lunch table about this, and I was like, yeah, he said, insert quote here, as to what one of the characters said. And I said, absolutely not. It was like the last page of the chapter. I also am very scared of this book, considering the things I've heard from people. No. Next, we have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. If you know me, you know that I love Lucy Score. I've read, I think, only like 3 or 4 of her books so far, and I know she has a lot, but I tried to pick up Things We Never Got Over. First of all, let me just say, I do not understand a 600, maybe 500 page romance book. It makes no sense to me. Genuinely, what could you be talking about for 500, 600 pages in a romance book? Fantasy book, completely different. Romance book, no. I'm telling you that while I also continuously recommend By a Thread by Lucy Score, because that was amazing and one of my favorite books of all time. Keeping that one of my favorite books is a Lucy Score book in mind, yes, I DNF'd Things We Never Got Over. I also read only the first chapter of this book, and I was so excited. Look at that. So excited. I literally put tabs in there, what they were, and then I read the first chapter and I DNF'd it. Yeah, she called him like the Viking or something, and I was like, what? I just know that I read the first chapter and was like, no, immediately. So probably not getting back to this. I don't know, I really want to. But I mean, like, am I really going to want to read 500 something pages of that? Not really. You should read By a Thread by Lucy Score though, because that was fire. Then in that same video that I was just talking about before that I read Icebreaker in, I also read The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score, which I also DNF'd. This was actually such a good like premise, and there was such a good plot to this book, but I was like really confused, and I think I wasn't paying attention while I was reading, because when I saw like TikToks and Instagram reels on this, I was like, why didn't I continue reading this book? Like, I don't understand. I don't know, maybe I'll continue reading this. I put it as a hard DNF because I haven't picked it up in like 2 years, so it's like a lot shorter than like most of our other books. Like, this is Things We Never Got Over, and like the difference is crazy. It's like half of that. Oh, and I stopped in the middle of a page. Isn't that nice? Okay, and then lastly for my hard DNFs, which is crazy because I thought I would have a lot more hard DNFs, but I guess not. This one's gonna be very surprising. I think I talked about this like once or twice on my channel, but I hard DNF'd Summer Romance by Annabelle, I think it's Monaghan, because I heard Destiny say that and I said Monaghan. So I don't know if it's Monaghan, I don't know. But I DNF'd this because there was no romance in here. The only thing that was going on was the woman, the main character, and her ex-husband fighting over custody of the children the entire time. There was no romance. I was bored. I was halfway through, and it had already taken me like a week to get like 100 and something pages in. And I was like, are you kidding me? Why am I still reading this? It was just very boring, in my opinion. I didn't get it why this was a romance when they were just fighting the entire time. Like, there were literal times where you would just get her and her ex-husband like just talking, and I was like, where's the other man? I don't know, maybe I should have kept reading. Maybe there was like more for me to read about and I just didn't get there yet. But I don't know, a lot of people said that this was like their favorite book of the summer, especially Destiny. She said it was like one of her favorite books of the entire year last year, and I DNF'd it. I don't know. Okay, now moving on to soft DNFs. I have a lot more soft DNFs because I just stopped books for whatever reason to read new ones that I'm going to get back to at some point. So first soft DNF we have is Crescent City. I have not yet finished the Sarah J Maas universe, and I'm kind of like holding on for dear life because I really don't want to leave it, because we're patiently waiting for ACOTAR 6 to come out, and it doesn't look like she's coming anytime soon. So I'm holding on for dear life to the last new Sarah J Maas books that I have not read yet. But I started reading it, and I think I got like 3 chapters in, and I was on the phone with Mads because I was like, I need your help because you've read it before. I haven't, so I'm gonna be really confused because I know it's really confusing. She was like, okay. So I started reading it. I was asking her like 10 questions. I was like, what is that? Like, who is this? Where are we? You know, so confused. So I DNF'd it because I don't think I was in the mood for like a 1,000 page fantasy book at the moment. I enjoyed the first few pages though. Maybe we'll wait until ACOTAR 6 comes out and then I'll be like, okay, read Crescent City, then we still have another book waiting for us. And that was the only one that I don't have a physical copy of. I actually do have the physical copy, but it's just at my dad's, so it's not here. But now we're on to physical copies of soft DNFs. There's a bee lurking by my window. This is like actually really good. I need to refuel. This is really good. I had the blue Raz one on my birthday. That was good, but I think I like this better. I don't know, something about the blue raspberry is just like interesting. I don't know, I love blue raspberry, but I don't know, I feel like that was just like an interesting flavor. Okay, so first up we have Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I don't think I got very much into this. I got 50 pages in and I DNF'd it. This was because, why did I DNF this? I was reading this for my new releases video and I don't know what it was. I think I just like wasn't in the mood for like such a big fantasy, especially since it's like summertime. Normally fantasies are for like winter time for me or fall, so summer is the time for romances for me, so I wanted to pick up a romance instead. So I think that's why I DNF'd this. It was also taking me a little while to get into, even though I was using the audiobook. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely coming back to this, like for sure, because I need to know what happens. Sorry if there was a slight angle change. I had to text Emma and she says hi. Then we have Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. I actually DNF'd this because I was bored, actually. I got 88 pages in, so I was a good little chunk into the book and I just got really bored. I wasn't like paying attention. It was taking me a really long time to read and I just didn't want to read it anymore. I do of course want to finish the book. I just don't see the necessity of this book considering the way that Better Than the Movies ended. I think Lynn Painter was just trying to like continue Liz and Wes's story when I don't even think it needed to be continued. I feel like I'm like really far from the camera. The next book that I soft DNF'd was The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. I read this in the fall and I don't even know how far I got in. I think I was like maybe 20 pages in, maybe 30. I don't really remember, but I DNF'd it because I wasn't loving it. I was bored. I didn't like the male main character. Also, it was taking me a really long time to read. That's another thing. If a book is taking me a ridiculously long time to read, I'm gonna DNF it. I don't know, because I feel like if you read a book, guys, my heart is racing really fast. Oh no, I don't think I should drink any more of this. Wait, am I fine? Am I okay? Am I gonna die? We're gonna put her back in my mini fridge. We're not gonna drink anymore. Then we have one of the biggest surprises of a DNF, probably of the entire year so far, and that is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I got a good percent into this. I was almost halfway. It was just not very much like romancy to me, and I know that her books are more of like fiction with a like subplot of romance, but this one just seemed like different from the other ones. Like Funny Story and Happy Place were definitely more of like a romance heavy book, which is like normally what I read, at least in what I read, more like a fiction-y book, because we got flashbacks and like storytellings of what is her name, Margaret? Yeah, of what Margaret was like going through as a child and stuff, and everything that happened in her family, which was a lot to remember, and I feel like that was also just confusing me a lot. I don't know, I feel like I was just getting very bored with it, which is so sad because I literally love Emily Henry's writing. But yeah, that was like so sad that I DNF'd this book, honestly. But to be fair, Releasing 10 also had just came out right as I was reading this, so I had to pick up Releasing 10. Next DNF we have is Good Girl Bad Blood. I actually DNF'd this like maybe 3 times. I started it and I got like 2 chapters in, put it down, started it again a little while later, and then I got to chapter 6, which is on page 54, and then I DNF'd it again. I do really want to pick it up again though, because I know that the last book is like absolutely insane, and I know this has like a good twist to it too. I don't think I've been in the mood for like this type of book though. I've literally been on a romance kick since like December. Like I've picked up maybe 2 or 3 fantasies since the beginning of the year. Everything else has been romance. I don't think I've read a single thriller. Wait, did I read The House? No, that was last year. No wonder I'm missing all of my red bookmarks. Like, there's one in here, there's one in there, like, there was one in the other book that I was talking about before. The Christmas Fix literally has a red bookmark. No wonder I can't find any of them. Anyway, the next book that I DNF'd was The Shadows Between Us. I think, like the other books, it was just taking me really long to read. Like literally the first sentence of this book got me absolutely hooked. Are you ready for this? They never found the body of the first and only boy who broke my heart, and they never will. Are you kidding me? So I continued reading. It was great. And then I think it just got like slow. And there was like 2 or 3 characters that I had absolutely no clue who they were. And I kept trying to flip back to like figure out who they were, but I was like not able to. Like I just didn't remember. But I haven't seen like anybody talk about it, I don't think. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to read this. And it was like a really good plot too. She was trying to get like the king or like the prince to marry her so she could kill him. Like, it's a really good plot. I don't know why I DNF'd it. Also, the cover is so cool. Like, whoa. It's so cool. Next we have Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I got 80 pages into this book, and I'm gonna tell you right now, the reason that I stopped reading this book was because the chapters were insanely long. Like, chapter 6 was on page 80, which means there was 5 chapters and 80 pages. This was different though because I've never read an Ali Hazelwood book before, and I know that there's like science in her books because I'm pretty sure she has like a bio or chem major or something like that, or she like studies that, or that's like her actual job. I don't know, but I know that like all of her books involve something with like either biology or chemistry or something like that, and it was really cool honestly to read about. But I think the chapters were just so long that I couldn't like get into it. But I remember everything that like happens in the book before this. Like I literally remember every single thing that was going on. I know the tropes. His name is Jack. Get out. The next book that I DNF'd is probably gonna be a shock, honestly, but it's Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I got 34 pages in and then I DNF'd it, but after I read Addicted to You, the first book in the Calloway Sisters series, I literally was like, wow, this is literally like Magnolia Parks. No wonder Sarah loves Magnolia Parks and Addicted to You. They both come from like rich families. I don't know why, but I love reading about like really rich people. It just makes me so happy. But yeah, I actually don't know why I stopped reading this. What did I highlight? Wait. Oh my gosh, wait. I do remember this. Wait, this was so good. Why did I DNF this? You know what? I'm gonna be completely honest. I think it's because it was taking me too long to read. Are we surprised? I don't know. I do remember that I absolutely loved BJ though. Literally in the first 34 pages, I was like, I'm in love with this man. Okay, and the last book that we have here today is Collided by Lauren Asher. This is the second book in the Dirty Air series, and the reason I DNF'd this book is because I absolutely bawled my eyes out. In the first, I want to say 10 pages. Literally the first chapter of this book, I bawled my eyes out. I also don't really remember much of what happened in Throttled, the first book. I think I read that like very quickly and I was just like so out of it while I was reading that book. And I also saw a TikTok, which did not help me, but it was like my least favorite books ever. And Collided was one of them. And I was like, wow, that really does not motivate me to read it now. And it's been on my TBR. I've had it sitting up here multiple times. I just haven't picked it up yet. But it's literally F1 racing. Like, oh, you know what will motivate me to read that is because the F1 movie is literally coming out. And guess who has a song on the soundtrack? Miss Tate McRae. I literally love her. Anyway, that will motivate me to read the rest of the series, actually. And I think it comes out in like a few days too. What's today? Today's the 20th. It literally comes out in a week. I should go watch it. Wait, that's such a good idea. And that will motivate me to read the rest of the series. I'm so smart sometimes. So that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking about all of my DNFs. I'm actually very surprised because I thought there would have been a lot more that I DNF'd, or at least soft DNF'd. But this was just very surprising. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!